I know I didn't update the thing. Whatever. This is Season 9, Episode 16, Trivial Pursuit. Is it just this week? Is this just the week of people being dicks while the animation team plays around with things? Because you notice the animation was really great in both of these episodes. Anyways. I'm tired. Alright, so Spike psychs himself up in order to force Twilight to go to sleep. Yep, okay. This is a little exaggerated, but it still tracks. How many of you have ever had trouble sleeping the night before, you know, something? Something significant, something big. Hell, I have that problem nowadays. The last time was last year, admittedly, but still. That is definitely a problem I have in the modern era. Despite the fact that I'm, you know, approaching 40 at this point. So, cool. Not a good sign, but cool. So then we go through all the rules. And I was about to make fun of the fact that they have so many rules, and then I realized some of the games I play. Board games, pen and paper games, and video games. Yeah. Anyways, so we're going to move past the excess amount of rules thing. She holds up a chart for a second. I actually freeze framed there for just a moment. They had several people there. Fluttershy, Applejack, Doctor Who guy, whose name I can't remember, Rainbow, Bulk Biceps, Matilda, and Maud. What's interesting about that, though, is if you pay attention to how she rates each of them, Fluttershy was rated one of the best partners for her. I just want you to remember that for a minute later. Anyways. So then she says something weirdly nice and wholesome. Spike says, I'm just worried, you know, I can't participate, and that would be horrible, and I wouldn't want to let you down. What does Twilight say in reaction to that? You could never let me down, Spike. That's weirdly heartwarming. And the kind of thing that just kind of made me go, I mean, yeah, no, they're family. Something that occasionally they tend to forget, but it's still a truth. Either way, they use the cutie marks for the drawing thing. Still love that concept. Cutie marks as an identifier is just such a cool idea that I'm totally going to steal it for something somewhere. Anyways, I was thinking about having one of my magical races in the extant have like a similar identifier. Probably not on their hindquarters, you know, something that you could say, ha, that's you. And everyone has a unique one. Food for thought. So, naturally, Applejack and Rainbow are competitive, and naturally, someone like Sunburst would be into this. I also love Fluttershy's pun. I've been brushing up. And you can tell she's been psyching herself up for that pun for, like, however long. I love it. Wonderfully wholesome so far. Then, Mudbriar shows up and needs to die in a fire. And then the animation team and audio design team show their chops when Pinkie Pie shows up. I know it's all little stuff, but all of the little touches that go into the audio design and the visual design of, oh my god, it's Pinkie Pie, no! All that. Really, really great stuff. The producer in me is giving out some pluses. They do some really awesome stuff when Pinkie Pie shows up, and it's tons of praise for the presentation, which is good, because this episode kind of pisses me off. But anyways. So then we find out... Spike says, do we have to do that thing where I remind you of all the stuff you've done as the Princess of Friendship, blah, 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 blah. And this is just a game? I get where they're going from. I do. I just have to comment on how much I absolutely hate those words. It's just a game is almost universally said as an insult. Why do you care about something in a game? It's just a game. Now, I know that he's saying it so that she'll freak out less, but honestly, and speaking from experience, if you care a great deal about something and someone tell you don't worry about it, it's just a blank. In other words, by doing so, you are insulting and diminishing the thing that they care so much about. That's not a good way to try and get them to calm down about the results. But that then leads to Maud and Mudbriar. And yeah, she immediately smashes that down on him too, which credit where credit is due. I mean, you do you, Loner. It's just, if you ever tell me that to me, I'll ban your ass in 5 seconds. So, Maud and Mudbriar, loud groaning. What's funny to me is that, Maud and Mudbriar. And my actual real-life reaction in that moment was to give a very loud groan of just, ugh. And then, like, as I'm in the middle of groaning, everyone else in the audience goes, in the show goes, ugh. And I'm like, wait, have they figured out how much everyone hates Mudbriar? No, it turns out that by statistical improbability, they keep getting each other. Oh, okay. That actually got a chuckle out of me. And that's why I hate this episode. I hate it so goddamn much. Because it's not a bad episode. What this is this is a funny episode that's very well presented that I hate. Does that make sense? It really gets on my nerves. It does. It's like it just and it just jumps up and down between amazing and aggravating, sometimes within the space of seconds. And it's hard to rate an episode like that. Usually I just kind of average it out and call it the difference, because it's just like, oh my god! It depends on the person, is the answer to your question, Act. What's my favorite drink and food? I'm going to give a category rather than a specific, because I don't think I have a specific favorite drink and food. So, seltzer water for drink and sushi for food. So then the expected happens. Not always, but I do wish I could actually sit down and do a frame by frame of this. Every now and again I wish I could do that. Because it feels weird to say, the animation is good. That phrase, that sentence does not get across what's happening on the screen. The level of detail and the level of background elements and malleability of the expressions and the movements and the blocking and the choreography and the face, there is so much. And I would literally have to do one of those things, and I've done this before, I don't do it often, where I just have the episode here and then I'd move it forward a frame or two. So you see what they're doing here and here and here, move forward a couple more frames, and here and here and here. Like, it's extraordinarily good animation. Anyways, did you notice in the background that Lyra and Sweetie Drops are also there just kind of kibitzing? I just thought that was a nice touch. And Starlight used to keep score, but now I can't even say the word trivia to her. Of course, that makes perfect sense, too, and is a nice little bit of background continuity. Of course, Sunburst would have dragged in... Well, yes, Imperial Star Destroyer, but I'll be completely honest, I actually shut down Question Bot because I didn't think anybody would be asking questions during the Streaminations. But yeah, it's a nice explanation for why she's not here, and it makes perfect sense that Sunburst, A, would be into it, right? And B, would drag his friend into it, and C, she would drag herself right back out of it. So, I want to go ahead and, actually, real quick. Do you notice the actual symbol is a stylized Trivial Pursuit wheel, which, again, Hasbro actually owns Trivial Pursuit. By the way, Loner, if I have to say this, I was joking. I would never ban you over something so stupid. That's insane. Besides, I generally don't ban people. That's... Unless they're a bot, you know. If there's a bot, they'll be banned. If someone's a dick, I'll time them out for a second and be like, chill. I have had to do that semi-recently. Anyways. It wasn't you, obviously. It was someone who was spoiling, actually. Someone who would not stop spoiling a game I was playing through. And finally, I just gave him a 1-second ban. Like, look, chill. Chill, it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and mention my own personal take on trivia, because I'm curious how many other people have this take on trivia. I generally don't like playing trivia games. And I knew it, Tony! And the reason... It's okay, Bob Brothers. The reason that I don't like playing Trivial Pursuit in particular, but trivial games in general, is there are only two kinds of trivia questions for me. Literally. It is a completely binary thing. Either I know the answer immediately, or I will never get it. And that's it. And so I tend to not like Trivial Pursuit, because it's either, bam, this is the answer, or... And I'm just waiting for the timer to run out, right? And there's no in between. There's no, oh, let me think about that for a minute. There's just bam or nothing. And I hate that. I hate is a strong word. Hate is a strong word. But yes, that's why, ironically, I'll never do it, Giga Pudding. Never. But if you want, I could put it towards Zillow, but I know exactly what Zillow will put it towards. Zillow will put it towards King's Quest 1 through 5, or whatever it is. So it's up to you. And your amazing fashion. Thank you for watching my show, as always, Giga Pudding. But, I mean, I guess it kind of is, Act. But I feel like that's why teams... So, sorry, this is the second thought. My thoughts are all over this. I'm really tired today. I apologize. I feel like I would actually enjoy Teen Trivial Pursuit more because of that. Because whatever I don't have, my partner may or may not have. You know, we've effectively broadened our overall thing. And as I was watching the episode, I found myself thinking that more and more. I should probably mention I have never played Teen Trivial Pursuit or Teen Trivia in general. Ever. It's always been solo. And I just found myself thinking, why has that never occurred to me before? Am I this stupid? Is that, you know, I'm just going to change my name. Change my identity. I got to get rid of this. There we go. I'm going to start talking like this, say. Going to be a completely new identity. To hide how freaking stupid I am. God. Anyways. So, moving on a little bit. This is when Twilight starts. This is when the episode starts to lose me. I should probably mention that. Because so far I've actually been very into the episode. It's been fun. It's been funny. It's been well animated. It has had fantastic audio design, which I know most people don't care about, but you notice those things, right? When you do it yourself, you know how that is. And so I've just been like, yeah! Oh, and then Twilight's a dick. Why are you being a dick, Twilight? Twilight? Twilight. Why are you being a dick? And it's actually frustrating because, and this goes back to what I think it was X's suggestion. This is like sparkling water mixed with coffee. Not sparkling, not carbonated coffee. That's a separate thing. Just if you just smash the two together, because that's exactly what this is. It's just I am absolutely going to ding this episode for this because, yeah, it's more character assassination. It is more frustration and irritation. And it drags the episode down, which is such a damn shame. So, okay, whatever. They do their questions, everything cool. And this is about when I started to notice that all the trivia questions were actually show trivia questions. I'm sure you caught that as well. I could have answered most of these myself, because I've studied this show. This is also when we see that Fluttershy and both Biceps are actually doing quite well in the score, which of course makes sense, because Fluttershy was rated fairly high. And yeah, Pinky's trying to participate, and what irritates me really hard here is Pinky is a little bit overenthusiastic. Okay, sure. I get that. I do. So, alright, having Twilight just kind of be like, hey, rein it in a little bit, would have made a bit of sense. But she doesn't do that. She aggressively goes out of her way to prevent Pinky from participating, even when there's no good reason to. This is what really... I mean, she's already kind of being a little bit out of character. But this is what pushes this firmly into character assassination territory. They bother to have a question about which cupcakes that Celestia ordered. And Pinkie Pie's like, I baked those cupcakes! The category was cupcakes. And Twilight's immediate reaction to this is, oh my god, did you see that? Yeah, this is Flanderization, is exactly what this is. Twilight certainly has some neurosis problems, even nowadays, but not to this extent. This is ridiculous. And there's another thing this episode does wrong, which I'll get to in a minute. But whatever, character assassination. Moving on. This then leads me... Actually, sorry, technically what happens next happens before this, because I'm saying this out of order. Yeah, exactly, Ross. So what happens before this is something that I hate personally, especially in politics. Not that I really want to talk about politics on this show, but this is something that actually aggravates me. Well, I'm not good, and I need to win. So rather than trying to talk up how good I am, I want to talk down how bad the competition is. This is actually referred to as reverse marketing. That's the actual term for this. And it is something that's used in marketing. People actually, they started adding legislation to prevent several companies here in the United States from doing reverse marketing so much, because it actually, for those of you who don't remember, back in the 60s and 70s, reverse marketing got really bad. Like, it got to the point where you would see an advert for, I'm going to make up a company here, Rascor Burgers, who would talk about how Darth Maduro burgers are made of, you know, fungus and filled with hair. Just blatant lying in order to try and to make you go buy Rascor Burgers instead of Maduro Burgers. And it's just like, what? And yeah, I'm sure some of you saw, because it took until the 90s for them to really lock down on this here in the States. Late 90s, to be clear. But you've probably seen a bit of this as you've been going, if you remember, if you've been alive during those periods of time, if you've seen adverts in that period of time. There was a lot of, we're so much better than the competition, they suck, they do this wrong. Yeah, Burger King and McDonald's had a long-standing feud about that. What doubly irritates me, and this is why I bring up politics, is because it's still legal to do that in politics, because political ads are not actually covered by the same rules legally as financial ads. And yeah, Loner is saying that as a joke, but how many of you have seen the actual ads here in the States about, you know, I'm Bob. Did you know that this other person who's running against me is this horrible, terrifying, murderous, fraudulent person? They're so awful and evil, and they're bad for America. Yeah, it's unbearable during an election cycle. It's why so many people are irritated by political ads. It's not the ads themselves, it's the specifics of the ads. Paid for by Sideshow Bob. Yeah, it's this is an old thing too. This is an old concept. I hate this crap. And this is, sorry, so let's bring this back to the episode. Sorry, I'm getting way off topic here. And yeah, exactly, Loner. They always slip around it. In fact, there's also the opinion thing. You notice I mentioned that, you know, Loner is bad for America. That's an opinion, legally speaking. No, really, I've actually looked into how libel actually works. It's fascinating and horrifying. But if you just say something that can be so easily determined to be an opinion rather than a fact, then you can't be hit legally for that. So, anyways, again, so back to the episode. I wanted to smack Twilight at this point. This is actually before she goes completely out of character with the cupcake thing. But already at this point, I'm pissed off at her because she starts pulling this crap. Pulling technicallys, in the technically sense of the word, in order to try and hurt and disqualify the other teams. And then she pulls the cupcake scene. Now, she doesn't piss me off as much as Rainbow Dash, because Rainbow Dash was just non-stop being hammered in the face by her being a total asshole. So, no, it's nowhere near as bad. Still, this was just, hi, I'm a dick, hi, I'm a dick, hi, I'm a dick, cupcake scene, and I'm like, okay. Then, Twilight and Sunburst team up, and Sunburst starts doing the exact same things to Twilight, hammering in the point, hammering in the point. This leads to Sunburst trying to get Twilight disqualified. Now, the episode does something kind of cool here for just a second. Sunburst actually realizes, you know, Twilight's like, you're trying to get me out. And Sunburst, without any external influence, realizes what he's doing. Is like, oh my god, you're right, I'm so sorry. Can you ever forgive me, Twilight? And just ups and mans up. What a weirdly cool character moment. And honestly, in character for Sunburst, too, if I might be so bold. Sunburst has a little bit of blindness to his charisma score, because he's a little bit, But the moment it occurs to him, he's a good guy, he's a good person, and the moment it occurs to him that he screwed up, he will try to make amends immediately. He's done this before with Starlight, he's done this with Twilight, and now he's doing this again here. So as soon as it's occurred to him that he's doing wrong, he's like, oh god, you're right, I'm so sorry. Very in character. This leads to Twilight going over to Pinky and being like, hey. And Pinky's like, well, you know, I was going to do Twiburst, but, you know. Twiburst? Really? And this is 2 minutes before the end. Oh, yeah, and Trixie. That also happened. This is 2 minutes before the end of the episode. So, it's kind of a nice message. And this ties into what we were talking about with Loner. And this is why I specifically didn't talk about the it's just a game thing. Because there is a difference between it's just a game and we're all here to have fun. Some of you may or may not know that I have a rule called Rule 0. The reason I call it that is because Rule 0 applies unilaterally. Rule 0 always applies in every circumstance. But if we bring it into the realm of cooperative gaming, whether it's an MMO, or just a co-op video game I'm playing, or a board game, or pen and paper, there is a Rule 1. And Rule 1 applies in all of these circumstances equally. Rule 1 is, we're all here to have fun. So this is my answer to your earlier questions, to both Loner and Ect. That's what you say in that moment. Because that's the focus. The game matters. We have relevance, we have time investment, we are enjoying ourselves, and we like to spend our time with our friends involved in an activity that matters to us. But you can't step over that line. We're all here to have fun. The moment you try to have fun at the expense of your fellow player, you're having a problem. If you're paying attention, by the way, this is also blending into Rule 0. The reason I have that yeah, we don't drag people down, exactly. The reason I have this rule, or the reason I have this so well codified and established, is because I've been GMing D&D since I was 7. You can imagine how much experience I have with people who have violated Rule 1 over the years. Yeah, exactly. Competitive. We both accept that. We both embrace that. Cool. That's a lesson we learned back in Season 1 with Applejack and Rainbow. If you can only have fun by crushing your enemies, we might have to have a talk, Loner. You might be Ninja. Seriously, don't listen to Ninja. He's actually talked about this topic, and he's pretty much on the exact opposite side of me. He's of the, if you're not winning, then you're not playing, and you shouldn't be playing the game mentality. He's a dick. So, anyways, I don't just mean regardless of his streaming persona, which is terrible. I mean, like, he's actually talked about this legitimately. Screw him. So, right, hang on, I wasn't actually quite done. So the point is that it's a nice message, kind of, but it pulls in, it's a nice message brought in by, once again, bad writing. We literally just talked about this. Rah, 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 chunk. I'm better now. And in this case, it's actually worse than the previous episode. Well, that's not true. But it's worse in one way than the previous episode. Because the chunk happens in the last 2 minutes. Whereas in the previous one, it was in the last 6. I checked. I knew it, Loner! Oh, bonk. Okay. So how do we rate this? It's not terrible and it's not great. So it's got to be somewhere in the middle. Like, I'd say we've got a range of green to orange on this one, is my feel on this. So what are we thinking? Below average, average, or above average? This is why I hate this episode, because it would be so much easier if it was a better or worse episode. If it didn't throw Twilight out the window and turn her into a dick for several scenes, and then have a sudden last-minute change of heart both of which are things I hate, then this would be way up there, I think. It's got good continuity, it's got lots of recurring characters, amazing animation, you know. I knew it, Tony! Wait, what's the majority? Truth be told, I'm kind of leaning towards yellow on this one. Mostly because I'm not sure how else to rate it. It's so hard to rate an episode that just yo-yos like this, you know what I mean? In my own system, in my own actual review system, this would be a situation where I'd give pluses and minuses equally. And however that lies, right? Trying to do a -5 to 5 there, whatever. Hang on. How many colors do we have? Let's see. Black, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, purple. So 1 to 7 is apparently the range here. It's harder to do that. Maybe I should, whenever we start a next show, maybe I should just straight up start doing pluses and minuses. And just say, screw it, here. Plus to animation, plus to humor, plus to continuity. Negative to Twilight, negative to Twilight. Negative to irritating last-minute switch of thing. And there you go, boom. I think we'll go with yellow. I think we'll go with yellow. If I could find it. There it is. I swear I'm here. That's a shame, because this is Brittany Jo Flores' second episode, and the last one was a purple. Whoops, that's the wrong color. There we go. I've thought about it many times, Act, and truth be told, the main reason I haven't is because of time limitations. I know that sounds weird, but like if I'm doing a movie rumination, for example, it would take extra time to sit down and jot down, you know, plus, minus, minus, plus, minus, instead of just jotting down thoughts to talk about. Anyways, next week is, what do we got here? Summer Sun Setback. I have a feeling that's going to be about the Summer Sun Festival, and she talks to Angel, which I'm just going to guess that has to do with Angel, the bunny. And we'll see. Yeah, I need to set up a separate thing on the spreadsheet here. Ooh, that's big. Because right now I have it blocked by authors. But I feel like Shadow Machine is trying to say to me something. I think he's saying to me, Lore, you should block it by seasons as well. Because I really feel it would be fascinating to cover which seasons have which colors. In fact, you know what I could do? I could do that. It's not a bad idea. But that would take time, and I don't have time right now. Thank you very, very much, Shadow Machine. As ever and always. Nirvana? Is that on the list already? Because I feel like it is. That's the sequel to Valhalla, right? It's not even close to being correct here. It's not on the list? Hang on, let me chop off the local recording.